Hey guys, I have had a couple questions in the last couple of days about discovery calls, and I think it's like no coincidence that I was getting a couple of questions about the same topic. So I thought, why don't I just make a quick little video here and share with you some of the answers that I gave to these designers. When someone calls me up and they want to know more about me, I turn it around and make it more about them. That is psychology 101. If you can take a conversation and make it about the opposite person, they feel heard, they feel validated, they feel interesting, they feel like you're just making them the center of the universe. And actually, people love that. Even if they say, I don't like talking about myself, if you give them the opportunity to talk about themselves, they will talk about themselves. So these are the top questions I lead with in my discovery calls. I always ask them, how they heard about us. And then I want to know, how can we help you? What are the areas you think you need help in? Because if I just come out and say, what do you think what's your project, what's your budget, clients don't know any of that stuff. So I lead in with these questions that just helps open up the dialogue and gets the client talking. And clients will just start talking about their space, and they're going to walk through each and every area, and they're going to tell you all the things, that isn't really working. And if they don't, that's another question, is ask them what's working about that space, what isn't working about that space, what you really love, what you don't love. I feel sometimes we're afraid to get into those questions on this call because we don't want clients to gab our faces off for 2 hours and just tell us their whole life stories. I really want them to, because I can control this conversation really easily and just segue into the next question without sitting there and having to feel like I have to hear their brain dump for 20 minutes. It's just a skill you learn over time. So obviously then some of the questions I will ask after that is, what's the square footage of your home? What areas are included in this potential project? I always use the word potential as well. That's like my little golden nugget in this whole entire thing. Use the word potential. How can we potentially help you? How can we potentially work with you? Because you become desirable. That's also psychology. If you just make it sound like you're available and you want the job and you're going to show up, it sort of reeks of desperation. And truthfully, I want the ability to back out of a potential project if after I go and meet a client or I go see the site and I'm like, this isn't a real tangible project, or this just isn't something I want to take on. I've left that door open and I'm not committed. Next question I ask them is if they've got a contractor or a builder lined up, or do they need us to pull their team together? That just sort of shows them that we are competent. It's more than just me or the ladies on my website, that there's a whole team behind us and that we're professional. And right off the bat, they'll tell you if they've got someone lined up or if they need you to pull things together. And then what that does is help you kind of frame out your proposal, because there's going to be project management or design management involved in your fee. Of course, I ask about timelines. I ask clients when they're thinking they want to maybe start the project, because it also shows me if they're realistic or not, or if they've done any research on their own and sort of know, sort of maybe what the timelines might be. If someone says, well, we want to start in 2 weeks, that's not happening. We all know that. If they're like, well, we're not in any rush. We don't even know sort of our budget. We don't know whatever. We don't know. And we need you to sort of help us walk through the next steps. And then we'll have a better idea of timelines. And then I ask about budget. And I don't ever expect to get a real answer. And that's fine. I don't really need one. But what it does is it puts that money conversation on the table right from the very beginning. I know designers, this is one of the most touchy subjects, or fearful subjects. We're scared to talk about money so much of the time, and it really shouldn't be that way. Even if you have no idea how much their project's going to cost or what your design fees are, the fact that you talk about it and bring it up shows that you're professional, because obviously you can't do any of this work without money. The clients can't renovate or build without money. So I ask them, I say, do you have an idea what your potential, again, that word, I love the P word, what your potential budget might be? Usually clients say, we have no idea how much this is going to cost. And then they flip it back onto me. How much do you think this is going to cost? And there's ways that you can segue around that. And if you have experience in similar projects, throw out those numbers, but give a range. Don't just say 60,000, 150,000, because people sometimes, if they're not expecting that scares them, right? Or it shocks them. So I would say, if they're asking me, how much do you think something's going to cost us? I'll say, well, it all depends, which is absolutely true. But for something of this nature, and Experience has shown me, that is a key phrase from Kimberly Seldon. I have to give kudos to her. Experience has shown me that your project will probably fall in the range between X amount of dollars and X amount of dollars. Does that sound comfortable to you? I put that back into a question for them, because if they hadn't even considered it, they've now heard those numbers and they have to quickly decide, yeah, it's okay. Or if they were thinking, they were going to be at 20,000 and I've thrown out 50 to 75, they can say, whoa, 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 we had no idea. And then that gives them time to think about it. And I actually want them to do that, because there's no point me going to see someone's space or talk about a project if the numbers are way over here and reality is way over here. So I want to know that right off the bat. And now this is where I ask my warm, fuzzy, feely questions that clients don't even know are warm and fuzzy, but they really, truly are. I will always ask a potential client, have you ever worked with a designer or a design team before? It's like 50-50. Some have, some haven't. And then I will ask them, if you have, what did you really love about that experience? And they will just offload. If they had a great experience, they will sing the designer's praises, and it gives me insight into what is really important for them and the things that I'm gonna need to make sure I do on my checklist when dealing with these clients. If they haven't, then my next question is, what are some of the key things in the back of your mind that you might be a little worried about when considering who you wanna hire as a designer? It sounds weird. Like, why would I want to know what my client's stressed out about, or if they're nervous about hiring a designer? But truthfully, I want to know these things so that I can completely put them at ease. And I'd rather know that up front than sort of midway through a project. What it also does is helps to show your client that you're a human and you're thinking about them and their feelings and their worries and their concerns, and that validates them. And I want to say that that is probably one of the biggest key factors in closing deals with my company and when I land projects, is the clients feel that I'm a human being, that I've heard them, that I've asked great questions, that I'm listening to them, and that I've got their best interests at heart. And that is, honestly, that never happens in that first initial 40-minute phone call. And I guarantee you there's not many other designers out there that are asking all those questions in that first phone call. So what it'll do is set yourself apart and show your credibility and your professionalism, and just that you're a human being who understands working with people. And that is all what this business is about, is working with people and managing people. Yes, we do design, but it's all about the people. So good luck on your next discovery call. Try some of these questions and then let me know how things go and if things are a little bit better afterwards for you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.